Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Torah Clicks, where I try to give you something worthwhile to click on, especially in these rough times when everybody or so many people are stuck in their homes and not all that much to do. And it's very easy to get wrapped up in doing things that aren't worth very much. And Klal Yisrael definitely needs the schusim. So if we can do something to provide Klal Yisrael with schusim and to give people something that's uplifting, I think it would be very worthwhile and very important. So I had begun doing Mesillas Yesharim, and I'd like to continue that project. So this would be the second shiur that I am giving on the Hakdama, on the preface of the Mesillas Yesharim, and we'll pick up where we left off. So when we last were doing the Mesillas Yesharim, we read the very beginning of the Hakdama, where the Mesillas Yesharim made the point. He said that he's not writing in this Sefer Mesillas Yesharim any great chedushim, any great novelties that people don't already know. He felt that he's really writing things that are self-evident. And the truth is, if you would ask people, people would say, oh, sure, of course I know these things. Of course I know Musar is important. Of course I know working on Avas Hashem and Avodas Hashem and Yerushalayim. Of course I know that these things are important. Problem is that even though they know that they're important, maybe they don't do it. And the Mesillas Yesharim said that that's exactly how it works. Because it's so self-evident and because it's so obvious, that's why people don't pay attention to it. They don't think they have to. What do you mean? It's obvious. A hard sugya in Shas, pshat in the Gemara is not obvious. A shvera halacha is not obvious. I have to work on it. I have to spend a lot of time on it. I have to write a chabura on it. But things that are so obvious, things that are so self-evident, I don't have to spend time on them. And because they don't spend time on them, they don't work on them. But because they don't work on them, they don't grow in Musa. They don't grow in Avos Hashem and Avodas Hashem and Yerushalayim. Now, the Mesillas Yesharim continues, and he says, Al Kain, based on what I have told you above, based on the fact that I told you that I'm writing this Sefer to remind people of how important, how critical these things are, and as I told you, that the nature of people is that these things get short shrift and they get forgotten, therefore I'm telling you, Al Kain, Ein ha'toyelas hanilkat mizeh hasefer, the benefit that you can gain from this Sefer is not yoytze min akriya by pamachas. You're not going to get the full benefit of this Sefer by reading the Sefer once. You're not going to get it by learning through Mesillas Yesharim and saying, oh, okay, I did Mesillas Yesharim. That's not how you're going to gain the critical benefit that there is to be gained from learning Mesillas Yesharim. Ki kvar efsher shelo yimtza hakorei besichlai chidushim, because it's altogether possible that by just reading through the Sefer, you're not going to glean any great Chedushim. You're not going to read the Sefer and say, okay, I got 16 Chedushim. There are 16 points of knowledge that I didn't have before, and now I have them. So, okay, so I'm done. I learned the Sefer. I picked up what I could pick up. I'm done. No, he says that's not the way it works. Elamat, as far as Chedushim, he says you might only come up with several small chedushim, even though for us, trust me, that's not true. We're going to come up with many, many, many chedushim, many things that we weren't cognizant of or we weren't aware of before we learned the Sefer. But he says even somebody who's not going to see tremendous chedushim in the Sefer is not going to gain the benefit from Mesillas Yesharim by learning it through once. So how do you gain the benefit from Mesillas Yesharim? The way you're going to gain benefit from Mesillas Yesharim is by reviewing it and by reviewing it constantly. He says not only reviewing it, min hachazara alav, by reviewing it, v'hahasmada. You have to be consistent. You have to consistently go over it and over it again. Ki yizachru lai advarim ha'ela hanishkachim mibnei adam bateva. Because by going through Mesillas Yesharim many times, it will remind you of things that it is the nature of a person to forget. What does it mean that it's the nature of a person to forget these things? The nature of a person is that he wants to forget these things. It's always a very big question. How is it that so many smart people in the world, I'm talking about Jews and non-Jews alike, how is it that so many otherwise smart and intelligent people in the world don't wake up in the morning and realize that there must be a purpose to life? There must be a reason why we were put here. There must be a creator. Like I say over many times in Shiurim, it's not my Chiddush, it's a Rambam. If you're walking in the woods and you chance upon a house, nobody is going to look at that house and say, wow, look at that. A house sprung up from the ground in the middle of the forest where there's no builder. It's an amazing thing. Look at that. You could have spontaneous, I don't know what the word would be, but spontaneous building. Suddenly a house could pop up out of the ground with nobody around to build it. Nobody would say that. Somebody sees a house, he knows that there's a builder. Somebody sees a house, he says to himself right away, wow, even though this is way in the middle of the forest, apparently once upon a time there were people here, because you see, somebody came and built a house. So how is it that people don't look at the world and say right away, obviously there's a creator? No, instead, otherwise intelligent people somehow look at the world and they say, wow, look at that. The world happened by itself. Big bang. Somehow something happened and the molecules got smashed together and somehow we ended up with the world. How is that? A house can't happen by itself, but the world and everything that's in it, which, needless to say, is vastly more complicated than a house, somehow that could happen by itself. Right? Otherwise, intelligent people seem to say this. Right? So why? Because it's the nature of a human that he wants to find that way out. Because if you take the other position, if you realize that there's a creator, that means that you realize somebody created this world, somebody created you. So there must be a purpose. There must be something. You owe something to somebody. Now suddenly you have obligations. People don't want obligations. People don't like obligations. And therefore, what happens is, bateva, like the Mechaber of the Mesillas Yesharim says, Ki learning Mesillas Yesharim will remind you of these things that are forgotten from people bateva, because of their nature. The nature is that they want to forget these things. They don't want to know these things. And by remembering these things, it will place upon your heart his obligations, that unfortunately people like to hide from. People don't want these obligations. They don't want to have to carry all of these obligations. So a person has to realize it's in his nature to want to forget these things. It's not just by accident. A person doesn't want to have to carry all of these obligations. He'd rather be maskim to the shtuyot. I was thinking about it, especially because of what's going on in the world. We talk a lot about emunah and bitachon. People have to trust in the Ribbono Shel Olam. Now, the same way you were in the Ribbono Shel Olam's hands 6 weeks ago, you're in the Ribbono Shel Olam's hands the same way now. Right? Right now, there's a machla running through the world. Everybody's afraid. 6 weeks ago, you were also in the Ribbono Shel Olam's hands. 6 weeks ago, when you drove on the highway, the fact that there wasn't a drunk driver coming the other way was also in the Ribbono Shel Olam's hands. The terrible diagnosis that somebody could have gotten for a critical medical issue 6 weeks ago, he didn't get because the Ribbono Shel Olam did not decree that he should get it. So you're in exactly the same situation today that you were yesterday, and that you were 6 weeks ago, and that you were 6 months ago, and that you'll be in next month. Your situation hasn't changed one iota. You're in the Ribbono Shel Olam's hands now, you were in the Ribbono Shel Olam's hands then, and you'll be in the Ribbono Shel Olam's hands in the future. So that doesn't change. Nothing has changed. But I was thinking about it. Why is it difficult for people to rely on emunah and bitachon? Why is it difficult for people to place their trust in Hashem? One of the reasons is that a person has, like the Mesillas Yesharim says, he has a nature that doesn't want him to trust in the Ribbono Shel Olam. Because, if you're trusting in somebody whose job it is to take care of you, so you say, all right, it's his job. I mean, he's going to do his job. If you're trusting in somebody who you think loves you, a person, so okay, I trust him because I love him and I figure he's going to take care of me. When you want to trust in the Ribbono Shel Olam, suddenly that reminds you that you have obligations to the Ribbono Shel Olam. And now suddenly you're a little bit worried. You know what? I want the Ribbono Shel Olam to take care of me. And I want to say that I have emunah and bitachon. I want to place my trust in Borei Olam. I want to place my trust in the Ribbono Shel Olam. But am I deserving of the Ribbono Shel Olam taking care of me? Do I deserve that the Rebbeinu Shalom should take care of me? Am I fulfilling all of my obligations to the Rebbeinu Shalom that he should take care of me? And now a person starts to get scared. Now the truth is, if you learn Chovos HaLevavos and you learn in Shiur B'tachon, the Baal Mechaber of the Chovos HaLevavos addresses this question, and he says that one of the reasons that a person hesitates to put his trust in the Rebbeinu Shalom is this: is he says to himself, I don't know if I could trust in the Rebbeinu Shalom because I don't know if the Rebbeinu Shalom will take care of me. I don't know if I'm deserving that the Rebbeinu Shalom should take care of me. And the Chovos HaLevavos goes out of his way to say that no, one of the ikrim of B'tachon is that you have to know and you have to believe that the Rebbeinu Shalom is a Rachaman, the Rebbeinu Shalom is merciful, and the Rebbeinu Shalom takes care even of those people who it takes mercy to take care of them, because they're not really at the level that they're supposed to be. And yet we have the right to trust in the Rebbeinu Shalom. Now, there's a fine line here. You do have to fulfill your obligations to the Rebbeinu Shalom. And you do have to remind yourself, I want the Rebbeinu Shalom to take care of me. I have to do the things that the Rebbeinu Shalom wants me to do. I have to live the life that the Rebbeinu Shalom wants me to live. We have to try our best, and we have to do everything that we can. We have to give it our all. Ein HaKadosh Baruch Hu ba b'trinya in Briyaisa, the Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't ask us of things that we cannot do. And the Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't expect us to be malachei hasharis. The Rebbeinu Shalom knows that we're not angels. The Rebbeinu Shalom knows that we're human beings. The Rebbeinu Shalom knows that we have a Yetzer Hara. But we have to try as best as we can. But that's one of the reasons why people hesitate to have emunah and b'tachon, I think. Because, wait a second, emunah and b'tachon, but it's a two-way street. How about my obligations to the Rebbeinu Shalom? But that's the only thing that you can't trust in. You can't trust in anything else. Nobody else has the power to take care of you. Only the Rebbeinu Shalom has the power to take care of you. So the Mesillas Yesharim over here says that if you want to get the benefit of this sefer of Mesillas Yesharim, we have to go through it and through it. We have to review it and review it. They say over from the Gra that when the Gra first learned Mesillas Yesharim, I think he learned it 101 times. They also say over from the Gra was legendary. For many reasons the Gra was legendary. But one of the things that they always say about the Gra was that the Gra hesitated to go out on the street. He said, once you leave your house, it's very dangerous to leave your house in quarantine. Because, you leave your house, right away you meet people, right away there's the potential for Lashon Hara, right away there's potential for wasting time. So they say over from the Gra that he had to leave his house, he had to go out in the street. He learned the first parak of Mesillas Yesharim, I think it says 14 times, before he went out on the street, so that it should protect him. The limud of Musar, learning Musar, is brought down, is a very great protection. We all could use protection in these days. Another thing I wanted to point out on this topic, on this concept of the Mesillas Yesharim here, where he says that to gain the full benefit, you have to review it. We know that the Chazal tell us it's important for us to make me'er brachas, to make 100 brachas every day. And making 100 brachas every day gives you great protection. What's the value of the 100 brachas? So one thing I want to throw out. When we make a bracha, what do we say when we make a bracha? Think about it. You pick up that glass of water to take a drink, and you say, Baruch Atah Hashem, like I said over recently from the Aruch HaShulchan, Baruch Atah Hashem, you are the source of all bracha, Hashem. It's not we're giving the Rebbeinu Shalom a blessing. We don't have anything to bless the Rebbeinu Shalom with. The Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't need our blessing. Baruch Atah Hashem, you are the source of all bracha, Hashem. Elokeinu, our God. That means we have a relationship with him. We have a relationship with Borei Olam. Melech HaOlam, the king of the world, the one who's in control of everything. Shahakol, that all, Nihiyeh, will be bidvaroi, will be and was bidvaroi, in his word. We just said when we made that bracha, we gave ourselves a very potent reminder, and we verbalized the fact that the Rebbeinu Shalom is in control of everything. Isn't that what we want to know right now? The Rebbeinu Shalom is in control of everything. There's nothing random. I just saw an old shmooze from Reb Gifter, Zechet Tzadik Livracha, I don't know what was going on in the world when he gave this shmuz, but obviously there was something frightening going on in the world, and people were saying Tehillim. And he said the most important thing that people have to remember and to remind themselves before they sit down to say Tehillim, before they sit down to daven, is that nothing is random in the world. Everything that happens comes from Borei Olam. Everything that happens comes from the Ribbono Shel Olam. The Ribbono Shel Olam is in charge of everything. We have to be cognizant of that. Whoever catches this is determined by the Ribbono Shel Olam. And whoever's well is determined by the Ribbono Shel Olam. And that's why we're mispal to the Ribbono Shel Olam. We speak to the Ribbono Shel Olam. We ask him for his protection and his help. It's Hashem, the Ribbono Shel Olam Shav Rachmanus on the entire world. The Ribbono Shel Olam Shav Rachmanus on Klal Yisrael. The Ribbono Shel Olam should protect everyone. The Ribbono Shel Olam should give a complete refuah to those who need a refuah. He should protect those who are well, and he should make them continue to be well. The Ribbono Shel Olam Chuas Hashem Karafayin. The Ribbono Shel Olam could make this whole tzara vanish in a minute, and we're mispal that he should bring Mashiach Tzidkenu, should bring the Geula Shlema from the Herav Yameinu right away, and all of the tzaras should be forgotten. Everybody be well.